welcome back and thank you for staying with us. You're still watching a Daybreak on Trust TV. It's time for the newspaper review right now. Let's take a look at what the front pages are saying. We'll start with Daily Trust newspaper, and we have the lead story here that talks about the Naira crisis. APC governors reject February 10 deadline. We have writers here that says, tell Emefiele people are paying to get their money. Demand 1-year extension to meet Buhari today. Protests in Lagos. Military operations suffer as troops in bushes cash. Military operations suffer as troops in bushes cash strapped. And we also have only masses are suffering, politicians having their way, says Kwankwaso. You can find details of that story on page 4. Below that is a pictorial of the building collapse that happened on 7th Avenue in Gwarimpa yesterday. 2 killed, 40 trapped as building collapses in Abuja. The developer violated building plan, says FHA. Now we also have more stories. NNPC engages Korean company on 341 billion naira Kaduna refinery repair. We also have Nigeria recorded over 10,000 cases of cancer in a month. Details on page 7. JNI demands probe of NAF over Nasarawa herders' killings. And at the top of the page there, we are not afraid of anybody. El-Rufai dares Villa cabals. And Kano, Gawuna, Bashir, Yusuf Abacha lock horns at Daily Trust debate, happening tomorrow. All right, so these are some of the stories on the front page of Daily Trust newspaper.
We'll move on now to this Nigeria with this major story there. You should have kept your mouth shut. El-Rufai tackles Lai Mohammed over defense of Asorok Mafia against Tinubu's candidature. Lawmakers fumes as contractors delayed NAS complex renovation. And polls. Court orders INEC to accept LP's candidate in 24 states. 2 other stories, 2 dead, 50 trapped, 7 rescued in Abuja building collapse. And Clark to Okoa, God won't answer your prayers to be VP. Account for 250 billion derivation funds you collected. And to the last story there, Customs sees fake $6 million. Arrest 4 at Seme border. And you have pictures there of the INEC chairman, Professor Mahmoud Yakubu, the NYC Director General, Brigadier General Isha Ahmed, and other members of INEC and NYC management team during a visit of the NYC Director General to INEC headquarters in Abuja yesterday. These are the major stories on the front page of This Nigeria.
All right, the lead story on First News it still talks about El-Rufai daring Asorok cabals, saying we'll soon unmask you. And we have writers here that says we're not afraid of anybody. 22 governors behind Tinubu, Kaduna governor boasts. We also have, he says we've defeated Villa cabal twice over APC NWC membership presidential primary. Buhari was shocked when Lawan was announced APC consensus candidate, says El-Rufai, and dismisses opinion poll rating Obi ahead of Tinubu Atiku, says LP flag bearer, a Nollywood actor, he's nowhere. And we have at the top of the page there, don't use MC Oluomo to distribute Lagos election materials. Atiku warns INEC. You won't succeed with your ambition, says Clark to Okowa. Below the lead story there, Southern Middle Belt leaders declare support for Peter Obi. Court orders INEC to accept LP candidates in 24 states. Wike has directed local government chairman aids others to work for Tinubu Atiku's camp claims. And Naira redesign, sufferings painful but necessary to end soon. Federal government tells Nigerians. These are some of the stories on First News.
And moving on to the Nigerian News Direct, we have there the major story bordering on the Naira. Naira scarcity, FG begs Nigerians as CBN directs banks to pay customers new notes. Naira redesign will curb corruption, grow Nigeria's economy, FG. It is a price to pay for nation's economy to recover. finance minister. You have pictures there of the APC candidates' campaign rally that stormed the city of Osun yesterday. And to other stories, Osun Guba contest, case to nullify Oyetola's candidacy lacks merit, Supreme Court. And Forest Castile not a plan to sabotage elections, NNPCL. 1 dead, 19 injured in Gwarimpa Abuja building collapse. And to other stories directly above the name marks, $54.2 million First Bank guarantee, Landsview, CBN battle over alleged fraud. Oshogbo Agog as Tinubu Ganduje Abiodun orders storm Osun. These are the major stories on the front page of the Nigerian News Direct.
All right, let's take a look at Leadership Friday. 2023 presidency, 22 days to go. PDP accuses Wike of working for Tinubu. And writers here says, we didn't stop your rally. Rivers governor replies. State party executives back Wike against Atiku. 22 APC governors behind Ashiwaju, says El Rufai. And then there's a pictorial of the building collapse there. At the top of the page there, Jigawa residents excited over 17 billion naira Hadeja irrigation scheme. Step down, apologize to southern governors, Clark tells Okowa. Now, violence in southeast must be crushed, says IGP. Details are on page 6. On Naira swap, CBN okays 20,000 naira over-the-counter payment. NNPCL, Daewoo signed $740.6 million contract to fix Kaduna refinery. And we have Southern Middle Belt leaders vow to deliver OB. These are some of the stories on Leadership Friday.
Moving on to the Blueprint newspaper. Okowa replies Clark on alleged betrayal. As senior citizen, your actions should unite, not divide Nigeria. Says our leader has a right to support candidate of his choice. Step down. You betrayed our colleague as Atiku's running mate, Clark. Middle Belt Southern leaders endorse Obi. You'll find the details of that on page 6. And moving on to other stories, you have NICOM Hajj Institute begin academic activities February 7th. And banditry, FG places 500 blacksmiths on surveillance in Niger. Artisans abandon traditional roles for supplying arms to terrorists. Troops rescued 30 kidnapped victims on Kaduna Birnin-Gwari Road. You'll find the details of that on page 9. And to other stories, we have bought weapons with new Naira notes, terrorists. FG diversification, most successful in digital economy, Buhari. And from Ondo, apprentice kills boss, dumps cops inside world. And Nigerians barrett ugly experiences with banking apps, USSD codes. BDC operators go cashless as Naira scarcity bites harder. MTN announces 2 trillion revenue, highest ever for a listed firm. And of course, you have there the picture of the governor of Yobe State presenting the President Muhammadu Buhari with a prototype of the Buhari International Cargo Airport, Damaturu, yesterday at the State House. These are the major stories on the front page of the Blueprint newspaper.
All right, so let's take a look at Business Day next. Nigerians seek foreign degrees as local faculty quality flounders. And this is the big story. We also have Naira Crunch. Petrol scarcity worsens Nigerians' cost of living. Moving on, digital payment turns first option at cinemas. CBN makes U-turn on over-the-counter payment. We have more stories here. EU's planned initiative for Africa gas faces investment hurdles. Exchange rate steadies amid new Naira scarcity. And mobile money transfer swings Airtel's revenue to $3.9 billion on page 3. These are some of the stories on Business Day.
And we will now take a deep dive into the issues on the front pages of the papers this morning. We have joining us as usual, the editor, 21st Century Chronicle, Marlon Nuruddin Abdullah. It's a pleasure to have you join us this morning.
My pleasure. Good morning.
Your face looked a bit bright this morning. I'm sure you would have found the nairas on the street. We all went looking for it.
We did.
You don't look like one that has been stressed out or one that even slept in any of the ATM machines to get cash, so I'm sure.
I was financially stranded yesterday. I couldn't even do transfers, no buy charge cards on, and all the POS around ATMs, not to talk of the banking halls. I tried even joining the queue, but when I counted,
The number of people.
No, the number of people and the fight. You need to be macho to slug it out.
Who said you are not macho? Yesterday we read from, this morning we were reading from Daily Trust that APC governors approached the CBN governor and told him clearly that they are not in support and they're demanding a 1-year extension to allow the program run smoothly amidst other developments around the Naira. They promised to meet the president today, and of course we saw the announcements from the CBN to now allow up to 20,000 over the counter. What's your impression of these developments around the Naira yesterday?
Yeah, maybe it will provide a temporary relief. But more importantly, the Naira swap policy is not a party matter. Maybe that's what the governor should know. It's not a party matter. And yeah, people are suffering, yes. But who are the worst hit? Yesterday, I was having a discussion with a friend, We were talking about all this. He mentioned one point. He said, we are complaining that there is no money. But people are now complaining that their monies, they have bags full of money that they couldn't even send to the
banks.
Particularly from the northern part of the country. So where are they getting those monies from? You remember the NFIU? Not more than a fortnight ago, they brought a new policy that
you can withdraw cash from
any official from the 36 states and the 774 local government should withdraw cash from their official accounts. And you know what happened? From North Central states, Kogi State to be specific, an individual who is not even a government official, but he is related to the governor, withdrew over 10 billion. 20 billion. That is ridiculous, you understand? That is one. The second issue, you remember the EFCC was saying that some state governments were under surveillance because they have stashed cash in their government houses, liaison offices, governor's lodge, and what have you. This is clearly money laundering. Look at the Kogi issue. He's not even a government official. He's only related to the state governor, and he withdrew that from the government account.
I think we also reported that, according to the NFIU, that state governors in total withdrew cash over 700 billion from government's account. Yeah.
Can you imagine that? What is that? That's money laundering. No state government or local government is paying over the table. Anything, this cash, Again, when this issue came up, as of I think the last 2 weeks, the CBN is saying that they have mopped up, they have recovered from the hands of the people 1.7 trillion. This is good for the economy.
But the masses are actually the ones suffering right now.
I'm coming to that. Now, APC government is not an APC government. Yes, you say government policy, good, but the timing. I don't think our fiscal regulators should consult INEC, Wadata Plaza, or Ballantyre Street before they take a monetary decision. Or when the MPC is meeting, they will call Senator
Gaya?
No, Senator, the APC chairman, Senator Abdullahi, Adam Abdullahi, or call Senator Yochayu, say, please come and be part. No. We should look at the economy first. The ransom economy is now in tatters. You understand? When like did you hear somebody be picked and monies have been... Because even the bandits now, I saw a video yesterday, you know, they're even celebrating that they have gotten the new Naira note. To show you they are terribly hit by the new policy.
Another video that suggests that they were throwing the old Naira notes to people.
You understand?
Yeah.
So it's a good development in that aspect of security. But for the governors, they are confirming what the NFIU, what the EFCC chairman are saying, that they have stashed so much cash for onward bribe of the electorate during the election. And now with this over-the-counter, you know, how the CBN did the halting, they're making it very difficult. Yes, if you want to bribe the electorate, do transfer to them.
And then we can trace it. Yeah.
Do transfer to them. When you want to give people 2,000, 5,000 to vote for you.
So are you saying that the cashless policy is not really working in Nigeria right now?
Yes, because some people are subverting it. And who are those subverting it? The governors, principally. The National Assembly members. Some ministers and what have you. Whatever the problem of the CBN, Mefele and what have you. But the issue is simple. This thing should be done. Yeah. For every monetary policy or fiscal policy like this, you know, it has its own challenges. And some people who are not happy with it will have to do all they could to ensure that, you know, it becomes more difficult, even though it is not supposed to be in the first place. Like now, why is stopping my transfer?
That's not a CBN issue, is it?
That is it. And I was in a banking hall. I'm a neighbor to a bank. I said, okay, maybe I ask some of my staff, okay, call the manager and what have you. Nothing. They were just sitting down doing Facebook. And even transfer, you can do it.
Yeah,
so, by and large, the policy is a good development. But this issue of bribery, this issue of getting people carrying Ghana must go with. And at least now we are not talking about a dollar. It's Naira for Naira now.
We'll get
amazing.
More about this, you know, in the course of the show. So let's move on to more stories. Now, this is what seems like good news to a lot of people. Story on NNPC engaging Korean companies to, you know, repair the Kaduna refinery.
I read the story yesterday and I saw the pictures. It's sad, you know. The Kaduna refinery has been down for more than 6 years. And it has staff working and being paid.
And being promoted.
And being promoted. Claiming all manner of claimables. We say now, if NNPC is your private property, will you keep people for 6 years when the place is not working? You are not making money. That is why even this issue of commercializing NNPC, it doesn't seem to be working well. And remember yesterday, day before yesterday rather, when the president inaugurated the board of the Ministry of Finance Incorporated, I watched Dr. Shamsuddin Sanusi talking about. He said he doesn't want to embarrass some of the assets that the federal government owns. Some are dead. I mean, maybe we should count the NNPC one of it. As the Melekari was even talking yesterday, even the Port Harcourt, there's so much fun has been channeled into it. Has it started refining?
Well, it told us the first quarter of this year.
Can you imagine that? So yesterday in the statement, I go through this, they didn't even mention the money and the time frame. They just engage a South Korean DU to do whatever. All these things shouldn't be done. Look at what Dangote is doing. My take, not tomorrow, is that LPC should be fully privatized, not commercialized. We should have stake like we have in LNG.
But Labour people would not accept that argument. You know, they stopped the Yar'Adua's attempt to privatize it.
They converted it.
They converted it, and basically up till today, that was what stopped the Dangote group from taking over the refinery. And between that time and today, he has built the fourth biggest world complex, and that place has not moved.
You understand? So it's a big problem. And when Labour, when they talk about fuel subsidy, look at NNPC has less than 7,000 workers. If I asked one of this time, if NNPC is your private property, will you run it the way it is being run now? He said no. So why can't you be just, let's run it like LNG is being run. You have no control over, when last did you see LNG management in the villa? No, Melakari is always in the villa. Always with this, always with that.
But the Minister of Petroleum lives in the villa.
Okay, the big minister. Okay.
We move on to other things. It appears all is not well with the APC. We've been seeing spills everywhere, trying to attribute developments within the polity and the economy to an attempt to sabotage its own candidates. The candidate has also gone gaga in many election venue, even up to yesterday in Osun. He kept talking about the fuel scarcity and the Naira redesign as a deliberate attempt to scuttle his chances, but that he will win. El-Rufai, of course, the ruffler of feathers, as he calls himself.
That was before.
The certified ruffler of feathers, really ruffling feathers in the last couple of days, asking the minister to have kept quiet and saying that powers in the villa who didn't want Asiwaju are doing everything to scuttle his chances. What do you make of all of the drama that we have seen with the ruling party and the presidency?
Yes, for the APC and the APC supporters, it's a very bad development for them. But for the country, it's a good development.
Okay.
And let me tell you why. We always make all these laudable, beautiful commendations that statesmen think of the next generation, but politicians think of the next election cycle. So, President Buhari, whatever it is, he's acting like a statesman who is thinking of the next generation, even at the detriment of his political party. That's how I look at it. Unlike before, where maybe the outgoing president will tell you that you will tell the opposition candidate that there is no vacancy in the villa. He's already appointed
a successor.
But here is the president saying that I want to ensure a free and fair election. He came through a free and fair election in 2015. That's no doubt. Jonathan's conceding, propel him to the international limelight. They look at him as a gentleman, crisscrossing the country on diplomacy and whatever. I think that's what Buhari wants to do now. Look at the Electoral Act. Thankfully, the National Assembly members were so blinded because they want to settle a score with the members of the Buhari's cabinet. They put so many things on the Electoral Act without even reading them.
Okay, clearly.
And some of them are out now.
On account of those provisions,
now. You understand? They put so many things. Maybe a consultant do that thing, and now we have the beavers, which is one aspect of the reform. The electronic, and you know what happened? Buhari, all these things. And by and large, election is about the processes, not even the outcome.
That's right.
Ensure that the processes are free, fair, credible. If the Nigerians elected, they can elect a nincompoop to be their president. At least the processes they were not forced to do it. They could live with it. So I think that's what is going to happen now. When Mustafa Mohammed was tackling El-Rufai, he reiterated that the president has no favorite candidate.
Both within and without.
For APC, bad, but for Nigerians, good. What Buhari is saying is this: the police, the army, the DSS, the civil defense, the prison service, the immigration, where again, the fire service will not be deployed to muzzle the opposition or to work in favor of the ruling party. And what his statement is saying also is funds, public funds from the NNPC, from the CBN, from FIRS, from NDIC, and what have you, will not be deployed for partisan purposes. It's a good development for every patriotic Nigerian. But maybe for the APC stalwart, it's a problem because he is moving from the norm. This is abnormal as far as they're concerned. But that's how African leaders should look forward to.
All right, well, let's quickly take a look at City and Crime on Daily Trust before we move on to more papers. We have a story here that talks about troops dislodging bandits, rescue 30 victims in Kaduna. On Kaduna Electric, imposter bags 6 months jail. Why I attempted to kidnap my boss, says suspect. Woman seeks a divorce over lack of marital satisfaction. Property agent arraigned for betting with tenants 4 million naira. And we also have on the alleged 580.2 million naira theft, court admits 2 Sharia court judges, cashier 16 others to bail. So would like you to speak on this particular story.
Very Sharia court judge. The Kano Sharia judges are very, can I say, notorious for arresting all these, like yesterday even one was remanded. Is it Murja, whatever you say, TikToker, Ado Gonja at the time was declared wanted, Sadia Haruna and whatever. And now, it means that it's so unfortunate. What it means is this: the process of hiring those judges, maybe if they follow maybe the normal hiring, like of magistrates and other maybe courts, first instance, maybe the process is rigorous. But it means that you are hiring rogues to preside over issues of the deliver justice, on issues of spiritual or religious importance, marriages, inheritance. This is not the first time. I remember in Kaduna sometimes, but I think it was during the regime of Governor Ramalanyaro. The same issue. A Sharia court judge in collaboration with registrar, it was inheritance, and they squandered over 100 million. I think the case became more embarrassing that the government had to intervene and even pay off the money. But I don't think that punishment, we didn't know what happened to the Sharia court judges and the accomplices. So what that means is those and the temple of justice, and not even the secular temple of justice, the religious temple of justice, kind of is a Sharia state based on. It means that they are not up to the tax, and there must be an elaborate effort and a continuous effort to read the system. So if somebody can do this, if you have an issue with your wife or whatever, it means that he will maneuver the thing and marry her off, as they have been accused of. Or it's an inheritance, whatever. The Sharia court judge will end up taking over the inheritance and whatever. I think that should stop. But the most daring is that, is it agents that use landlords, that use tenants, 4 million to do betting. Wow.
Interesting.
I don't know which book of personal finance did you read to be that audacious.
Yeah, moving on to one story that seemed to have made several other papers this morning would be the sad news coming out of Gwarimpa. The complex that went down, so far 2 killed, about 4, some papers are reporting 40, others are saying 50 still trapped. And the Daily Trust is saying that the developer violated building plans according to the Federal Housing Authority. When you heard that news yesterday, what immediately came to your mind?
The corruption in the day-to-day running of our municipality authorities. You know, this is what is happening in Lagos. And despite people being trapped and that is wounded or even killed, I think there is no specific policy that spells out those. He didn't do that thing alone. If you want to know, not even in Abuja, even in Kaduna, if you want to know that the urban municipality authorities are around, put your bricks and erect a small wall. I don't know, they have informants all over the place.
Yes.
Like somebody was saying, NEPA bill, you can't escape NEPA bill. You know this. They'll come and put Kasubda in Kaduna, for instance, now, or Nubda in Kana. So why it means that this guy must have been given permit to do it. Some officials have compromised their role in endangering lives of Nigerians. So what punishment do we have for them? Since this building collapse becomes a norm in our national psyche, in Abuja here, remember here, there's one place where it is still fallow.
Yes.
Remember that incident? Down to Lagos. In Abuja, I've never heard of any director fired, or even dogged, because when it involves human lives, somebody must. So that's the problem, and that was why the developers, in order to cut costs with the dollar, the forex issue, and the high cost of building materials, they use substandard building materials, cut costs, hire quacks as engineers, and they go scot-free. So that's the problem. So I think maybe that's what should be done. We have Koren. We have the building, even though there is a conflict between, if you go to the site now, who is in charge? Is it the building engineer? Is it the architect or civil engineer or what have you? So that's the problem. They hire all this manner of people, because they want to cut costs. And even as a professional, for instance, I'm an architect. I do this design, for instance. And I realize that I should be there to be implemented, to ensure that it is being implemented to the latter. If there is any violation, or the quantity survey that does the costing, maybe he said 12 M road, and you are using 8 or 6. You shouldn't sign up. But because of the cutting corners, they connive, all these people connive, even though they are professionals. And I haven't seen Koren in the Architects Association or the Builders Association reprimanding their members or suspending their licenses, like the NMA does.
And the NBA.
And you understand. If a doctor performs something, he'll be publicly reprimanded. Until we start that, as well as the municipality authorities, the FCDA, they have agents all over the place. Who supervise this thing? The lives are involved. Suspend him, take him to court. So next time when a developer comes, he give them 1 million, 2 million, they will think twice before granting him the license. Because I know they supervise this thing at all the stages.
That's right.
So we shouldn't have been having building collapse until this moment.
We have also the conflicts within the political cycle also, yes, impacting the PDP. The never tired Edwin Clark seem to be coming for the jugular of Okowa, saying that he betrayed an arrangement that power should return to the South. And Okowa is replying, saying as another statement, he has the right to his choice, but he should be uniting the country rather than dividing it. What do you make of the verbal attack coming from the elder statesman?
This elder statement that you have around now, I don't know. With all the respect to them, they have aged, but they don't realize that they are aged. Like, who said it? They are at the departure lounge now. Some of them with even their boarding passes handy. At over 80 or even getting to 90, Chief Edwin Clark is almost 90. He has been around since the Gowon regime. Just like Ayo Adebanjo. We're discussing with my. So you're talking about risk. You should unite, like Okowa said. If you must talk, then certainly you should say things that will unite the country, not to disunite them. Because whatever happens, it will affect him. He became a federal commissioner at what age? Like they say, he has chopped his time. And now you want to chop the time of others. No. And what I say in elder statement from all over the part of the country, they should know that the youth look up to them. But apparently, during their time, what have they done? They are bad examples when it comes to governance. And now, instead of uniting the younger generation, they are disuniting them. And what have you? So, like Okowa said, it's a choice. When the Chief Edwin Clark was parading himself as the father of the president in the 6 years presidency of Jonathan, let him enjoy his retirement. He should know that he has retired.
Is he retired in every sense of the...
Of course, he's over 90.
Still talking about the PDP, there's a story here on Punch that says PDP knocks Wike, accuses governor of anti-party activities.
This Wike matter. I think maybe like Sulalami once told him that in the next couple of months he'll be former governor. He should know that Amechi, even though he has been minister for more than 7.5 years, was equally a former governor with near zero influence in the politics of Rivers. He should know that his closeness to Amechi can't be compared with his closeness with the person he's trying to install as governor. So the chances of betrayal is 100%. He has betrayed Amechi, whatever that means.
Yeah.
So who knows, after leaving in government by May 29, that they will even declare him persona non grata in Rivers State. It's very possible. So the man is still there. He is not thinking of life after power. Rivers has so much money. Akwa Ibom, Delta, and Rivers, right? They have so much money. He has been carried away. All this thing will end May 29. EFCC, ICPC, all those people he work with now that cannot talk because he's the governor. Not only a governor, he's not like the governor of Nasarawa or Yobe. No, he's a governor with so much money. They will keep on talking.
Interesting. Personally, I will miss the band and the hype men If you have watched any public presentation of the River State Governor, there's this powerful hype man behind the scene who seemed to have a music for everything the River Governors had to say, whether it is Inyendeba, or whatever. But as they pain them, you get a sweet. I hope it will not be when he leaves. As they pain him, it will be sweet them.
You can have your way.
Yes, Nigeria, it's a very interesting, how would you call it? It's a very interesting place to be, especially as we approach elections. There is just nothing that is impossible in our climes. We will continue to observe the drama from a distance. We will report and try to be as impartial as possible. And we'll continue to get the likes of Nuruddin Abdallah to bring you the details and some of the behind-the-scenes polity that sort of informs some of the issues that make the front pages of the paper. And on that note, I want to thank you very much for making it to the studio this morning.
A pleasure.
I can only wish you one thing. I hope you find Naira.
Before it was the dollar, now it's Naira against the Naira.
Yes. And this is where we draw the curtains on the newspaper review. We'll see you at the top of the hour with more interesting stories. Please stay with us.
But in a situation where you find that they look like the same,
not necessarily tribal or regional.